This is a huge opportunity for him, as David Reinbacher has spoken out about his upcoming role with the Montreal Canadiens, and not only does he want to play for Laval, his goal is for Montreal's opening night roster. We're going to get into what he said and the possibility behind that, plus a huge update on Ivan Demidov, as he is going to be captaining an under-23 team at the age of 18 years old, even going up against his own team Xhekaj, and finally, a big update on a Habs prospect who declined to show up for what a team that drafted him. We're going to get into all this coming up on this episode of Habs Digest, but before all that, I wanted to thank the sponsor of this video, NordVPN. If there's one thing the Montreal Canadiens are stacked up on for the future, it is defense. And if you want to add an extra level of defense to your browsing, you need to try NordVPN, the fastest VPN out there today.
A VPN, or a virtual private network, encrypts your IP address so that when you're on a public network, that you can create your own private network within that, so you can enjoy the fun stuff on the internet like hockey.
Do you want to watch Habs Digest or a Habs game on the go securely and without an interruption? NordVPN has your back, and if you use code HABS, go to nordvpn.com/Habs, you get an exclusive discount to start browsing online with your VPN today.
But it's not just about speed, as David Savard has showed us time after time. NordVPN has you covered with their Threat Protection Pro. Think of it as your own personal Arber Xhekaj for your computer. Just as he protects the front of the net, we are keeping your system completely safe so you can really have fun while you're surfing the web.
So why wait? Elevate your game just like the Habs with NordVPN today. And if you go to nordvpn.com/Habs, you get an exclusive discount code, and it's 30 days money back guarantee, 24/7 support. They have other features like kill switch to kill your internet connection if your VPN ever drops unexpectedly, and it can be used on any device. So if you never wanted to miss an episode of Habs Digest, you never want to miss another Slafkovsky goal, Suzuki assist, Montembeault save, anything like that, go to nordvpn.com/Habs today and get your discount. Thank you very much to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. All right, Jesse, let's get into the first topic here. We got to talk about Mikus Vecvanags, Mikey V, as I like to call him, because it's a lot simpler. But he, well, as you guys know, there was some rumors about who he was going to play for in the QMJHL right after he got drafted. I think it was Marty Lapointe said, oh, he's going to play for like Drummondville or some other team, I forget. Then he got drafted by Acadie Bathurst. But now, according to another source, Gregory Ballock, he said, I'm told the Habs' 5th round pick, Mikus Vecvanags, will be declining to play in the QMJHL despite being picked by Acadie Bathurst in the import draft. He signed on to play with the Brooks Bandits of the BCHL, which is really interesting because that was Logan Sawyer's team, but we now know Logan Sawyer, another 2024 draft pick, has gone to Providence in the NCAA. But this is interesting, Jesse. I mean, we know Mikey V. He had some incredible stats over in Latvia. Not like 9 games in the Latvian main league as a 18, 19-year-old is pretty impressive on its own. But, I mean, I guess it's a little weird sometimes when you see a guy drafted and they go to a different league. But I think this could be good for him. And, you know, the BCHL, while not quite at the level of some other leagues in the country, I think this is going to be a fantastic entry to North America for him.
He's a bandit now, and you have to feel like Acadie is a little bit upset in the queue because they're missing out on a good player in Mikey V, right? We're looking at somebody who posted a 908 save percentage as a very young player playing pro hockey in Latvia. So he's definitely doing what he feels is best for his career. But like you said, it does come out of left field a little bit, right? Because you'd have to feel like for like the Habs for developing him, that there would have been a lot of advantages to having him in the queue, just being able to see him a little bit more, have a little bit more of that communication. We know that the Habs have tons of goalies right now, but this is obviously is by design. All of them are so important until we really know, what we truly have from these players, which is a little ways out, but you have to feel like he's going to do what's best for him. I'd say it's just a positive overall that he's on this side of the pond now, kind of playing on North American ice, right? And he's definitely just doing what he feels is best for his career. So we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Easy to keep an eye on. Maybe a bit easier if he was in Quebec or with Acadie Bathurst or wherever he ended up. But yeah, just an interesting little note that he switched leagues. But the BCHL is, well, it's a good league to definitely get your first taste in North America. I can imagine he's probably going to try and, maybe work out for some different leagues in the coming years. But I'm really excited to see what he looks like finally over on North American soil. But Jesse, we got to move on to the second topic of the video. We got to talk about our boy Ivan Demidov, and he is going to be the captain. No, not of Xhekaj. He's still probably a bit too young and inexperienced for that, especially for a team that has the likes of Zaitsev, has the likes of Kuznetsov on the team. Can't imagine they're giving the seat to Demidov, especially since he's going to be gone next year for the Montreal Canadiens. let's hope. But he was named captain of this new tournament, and Hockey News Hub, as you guys know, is probably the best, or at least one of the best accounts for following Russian or KHL news on Twitter, so I suggest to give him a follow. Captain Demidov, Habs prospect Ivan Demidov, will captain the Russia under-23 team at the Puchkov tournament in August 22nd and 29th. That's coming up very soon, just over a week away, and this tournament is a preseason event comprising some of the best teams in Russia, includes his own team, SKA St. Petersburg, and a few other big-name teams, as you can see there. Demidov will not be playing with SKA. He'll be the captain of the under-23 team. How impressive is it that an 18-year-old is captaining that team? And what do you think he's going to do when he goes up against his boys with SKA? I think he's going to try and put on a heck of a performance.
Oh, for sure. And a really nice, kind of compliment for this young man, right? But when we're looking at his attributes, obviously, first thing that comes out, elite level skill, right? That's a huge check. We know that the character is amazing. He's positive, but also that he plays a complete game, right? Even though he's 18, due to that high level of skill and character, like who else better to lead this team other than Ivan Demidov, right? And this is amazing news because we've been hearing some rumors like, okay, is he going to be the 13th forward in the KHL? How much time is he going to get? How much kind of top line kind of minutes is he really going to receive to be able to really hone his skills and develop, which is so fundamentally and crucially important for the Habs right now, right? But it's just amazing that he's going to get these opportunities again to play with a lot of great players his age. And again, getting put into those like top line sort of roles, right? Which we know we expect him to be in the future. So an amazing development for the young Ivan Demidov here.
I'm really curious to see where he slots down this team because, I mean, he's straight up one of the best under-23 forwards in Russia. I mean, it is what it is again, right? You don't get a whole lot of playing time when you're less than 23 unless you're very, very good, as Demidov definitely is. So I can only imagine that he's also projected to play high up in the lineup, but it's the captaincy itself, Jesse, and like, not only, like, to get that kind of thing when you're that young, your team, like, I don't know who gives that out. Maybe it's the coach, maybe it's the management. I don't really know, but regardless, I can't imagine they'll give that to a guy that people in the locker room maybe don't respect. So what this tells me is that all these guys, even if they're 2, 3, 4, 5 years older than him, have a lot of respect for him and trust him as their leader, which is, I think, one of those important qualities that we see a lot in Habs prospects. Don't forget, Guhle was a captain. Bogdan Kolyushkov is currently his captain in the KHL. Obviously, Suzuki's the captain. That kind of thing, that camaraderie with his teammates, and clearly the level of respect that, even if it's not all his teammates, definitely the management and coaching have for this guy.
And that's the thing that really comes out about Ivan Demidov the most when we're watching like the videos behind the draft and everything is not only the confidence, but the amount of respect that he shows as well, right? Mm-hmm. It's these other players have respect for him, but he also in turn shows that respect to those other players with other general managers that he was meeting, everything else, just class all the way, right? And that's an amazing kind of combination, right? When you can be confident in your skills, but to still be able to also share that respect for other people, right? Just shows like what an all-around type of person he is, right? Like really good vibes. And I'm starting to notice kind of a theme here, right? With Slaf, where, he's confident, but shows a lot of respect as well when it's the time. David Reinbacher, for sure the same way. And Ivan Demidov, obviously, as well.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool to witness this. I hope we can get some good highlights here. And like you said, though, I mean, this is something the Habs strive for in their prospects, something they got with Demidov. Really, really excited for the season to come around because I just want to see highlights of our guys. But we won't have to wait too long to see some of these guys in action. And if we're talking about players that are looking to make the Habs opening night roster, well, there's one guy in a recent interview just today for TVA Sport, David Reinbacher. Oh, boy, is he ever aiming high, Jesse. And I absolutely love it. He had an interview with TVA Sport, kind of shedding some light on his situation, his past season, and what he looks to do in the future. And the article opened up pretty hot. It opened up with him straight up saying, I've been training for making the Canadiens opening night roster all summer. Well, the question was about making the opening night roster. He said, I've been training for it. So anyway, it is what it is. It's going to be a heated battle with the other guys, which will be healthy and push us to another level. That's something we've been talking about all the time, Jesse, how this is going to push all the other guys to be better, knowing they have to fight for their spot. He went on to say that about his injury troubles, which is great to hear. He said, I don't have any problems with my knees anymore. They really did an excellent job. I've also recovered very well from my hand injury. I'm really confident going into training camp. Went on to say, I want to get a heavier shot so that I'm a bigger threat on the ice. He's already a big threat on the ice, Jesse, but to hear he wants to improve so many aspects of his game, to hear he's injury free is really good, especially after that pretty rough season last year. Multiple injuries, of course, a long time out with his leg. He hurt his hand in Laval and had a brutal season when he was in the Swiss League and this and this and this. But he's back. He's ready to go. And not only does he want to play for Laval, he actually said his main focus, well, according to the article, is that he wants to make the Habs opening night roster. Do you see that as a legitimate possibility?
For me, I don't see him cracking the opening night roster, but he absolutely has to have this mindset. I see, this viewpoint of his being totally right. He absolutely has to, right? And it's kind of something that we're not maybe speaking about enough when we're making projections for the Habs of what they can do, right? Because David Reinbacher contributing to the Montreal Canadiens can definitely help those playoff type aspirations, right? I'm feeling for next year that David Reinbacher is going to give Logan Mailloux a run for his money all the way. And there's a very solid chance that he can be better than Logan Mailloux even next year, right? Which is, well, because Logan Mailloux's 21, David Reinbacher 19, right? But what's going to help David in this case, much like Mailloux in a lot of ways, what they both have going for them is that they're both natural right-handed defensemen, which is important, which looks like we're going to have about one guy kind of playing his offside, whether that's a Struble or a Xhekaj, right? But just to have a guy that can do this helps their possibility of being able to make this team, right? Because we know that Reinbacher, he didn't have a great season in Switzerland last year, but as soon as he got to the AHL, Josh, I was impressed with him right away. Not only is he good defensively, but this guy has some untapped offensive capabilities. He is super talented. He knows exactly what he needs to work on too, getting a little bit of that heavier shot, working on his stick positioning in the defensive zone, right? But for me, this is going to be a guy it's him and Mailloux are going to be battling for ice time. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Reinbacher getting the better of Mailloux, even though he's a little bit younger right now.
Wouldn't entirely shock me either. Now, I was lucky enough to see him live in Laval this past season. And while he didn't stand out on the offensive end, he didn't really jump off the page at me. What did jump off the page was you watched him and you were like, you almost thought that the game was too easy in some aspects. He did make a lot of mistakes, but his size and his movement was so fluid that he stood out amongst everyone else as having that NHL level movement. The passing was good. He made a couple mistakes, but like you said, I think there's a ton of potential for him. I think this is going to be a fantastic make or break year, and I actually do think, maybe not make or break, I shouldn't say that, but I think it's going to be a big year. I actually do think he has a shot at making the opening night roster. Call me crazy. I think he's going to be way more impactful than Mailloux, even if Mailloux has the higher offensive upside. But we'd love to hear from you down below. Do you see David Reinbacher making the opening night roster? It's going to be a tight squeeze, but I think under the right circumstances, it might be possible. That'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching every single day. We really appreciate you. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.